My boyfriend and I, together for 8 years on and off, found ourselves in a distressing situation recently. We were heading to his sister's house for her daughter's birthday, but tensions from the previous night's argument lingered. The dispute, a recurring one about starting a family, had escalated unnecessarily. I suggested seeing a doctor because our efforts to conceive hadn't been successful, but he insisted we were both healthy and young, dismissing any potential issues. Exhausted from work, I chose not to prolong the argument, hoping for peace during the family gathering. However, the following day, picking up his mother only exacerbated the strain. Attempting to lighten the mood with small talk, my efforts were met with curt dismissals from him. His irritation was palpable, and after a few minutes he snapped at me to be quiet. His mother, sensing tension, inquired about what was bothering him, and in that moment, I made the mistake of trying to address the underlying issue. This triggered him into a furious tirade, labeling me immature and accusing me of inciting unnecessary conflicts. His refusal to lower his voice or engage in a civil discussion, especially in front of his mother, left me feeling helpless and exposed. Raised voices and confrontation have always been triggers for me, stemming from a childhood where arguments were frequent and loud. His aggressive outburst, especially over an issue we could have discussed later, overwhelmed me. In a moment of frustration and pain, I snapped back, pleading for him to stop screaming and suggesting we discuss it privately later. Instead of calming down, he reacted by grabbing my face forcefully, warning me never to speak to him like that again, especially in front of his mother. His grip tightened, causing increasing pain with each word, an intensity I hadn't experienced before despite similar episodes in the past. In a desperate attempt to free myself from his grasp, I unintentionally scratched him while trying to push his hand away. I regret the scratch deeply. It was a reflex action to stop the pain, not an intentional act of aggression. His mother, who had been silent throughout the altercation, suddenly found her voice, berating me for hurting her son. She got out of the car to check on him, and despite wanting to do the same, I feared further escalation. He brushed off her concern, downplaying the scratch, and we continued on our way to his sister's house. Back home afterward, he retreated to the guest room, and I opted to spend the night at my parents' house to collect my thoughts. The next morning, I learned that his mother had visited my parents earlier, recounting the incident from her perspective. She omitted his initial outburst and focused solely on my scratch, portraying me as the aggressor. To my dismay, my family, who are close friends with his, took her side without considering my version of events. They lectured me on respecting him and even suggested counseling, dismissing my attempts to show them the bruise on my jaw as irrelevant. This lack of support hurt deeply, especially since they were aware of my aversion to conflict and loud arguments. Feeling isolated and betrayed, I confided in my older brother, who thankfully believed and supported me through this difficult time. I'm now hesitant to return to his place to break up and retrieve my belongings. Despite his apologies via text, I find it hard to forgive him for what happened. Sharing these messages with my family seems like the only way to gain their emotional support, but it's disheartening that it's come to this. All my belongings are still at his place, and breaking up with him feels daunting, especially since he's been my first serious relationship. His mother's betrayal and my family's refusal to listen to my side of the story have left me contemplating cutting ties with everyone except my brother. Comments advising me to end the relationship resonate deeply. It no longer feels safe. His insistence on us having a baby adds to my concerns. While I've never seen him act violently towards others, his recent behavior worries me. Safety is now my top priority, and I'm considering seeking help and support from trusted friends as I navigate this difficult situation. I told her that's exactly what I tried to do, but she wouldn't listen. In her defense, it was covered with makeup and didn't look bad. Okay, she said. My partner and I need to sit down and sort things out. You should also apologize for the scratch. I had already apologized when it happened. She offered to call him and ask him to come tomorrow so we could talk and fix things. I was too tired to argue, so I grabbed my things and left. I'm writing this post from my hotel room. It's a temporary solution. I have a stable job but can't afford to stay here long. I need to be careful with my money since I'll need to find a place, buy furniture, and other necessities. I sent him a long, descriptive text detailing everything that happened that day, including the bruise and the scratch, and apologized again. One of you advised me to do this, and I got a response, so that's something. My big brother made it clear that family comes first, no matter how close friends might be. He said he'd bring a friend to help me pack my things when I'm ready, and offered me a place to stay. But I can't do that since he and his fiancée just had a baby, and her mother is staying with them to help. I don't want to make things harder for them. My only friend is on a business trip, but said I could stay with her when she returns on Saturday. So I'm waiting. She's the only friend I can trust. I never felt the need for more, Because we used to do everything together. I can't help but feel like I'm overreacting. I want to leave and am acting on it, but I keep thinking that he's not always like this. I know I'm being foolish, but I can't be this honest with my brother or family. My brother advised me not to answer his calls or texts until I leave, so he doesn't have a chance to talk me out of this. My father called this morning and apologized for not saying anything. He offered me $1,500, but I don't think I should accept it. He loves my mother deeply and always does what she says, so I'm not disappointed he didn't stand up for me that day. At least he didn't try to shut me up. I'm getting any paperwork I might need, thanks to my big brother. In the comments, I know better now. I should clarify that we dated for 8 years but didn't become exclusive until I was 18. He waited because my older brother insisted nothing should happen until I was 18. They were close friends, and knowing my brother was initially against it made him keep his promise. That's all for now. I'll give a final update once everything is sorted. Thank you again. Comments. emu_do_9390. He didn't wait, he groomed you. This is so disturbing. Your family is wrong. Please move in with your friend and cut your family off completely. They are encouraging you to stay with someone who laid hands on you. Now that he knows he will get support from your family when he abuses you, it will only get worse. Your family is gross and abusive too. Get away from these people as fast as you can. There is a better life and better people out there. How many times do you have to apologize for a defensive scratch? If any man grabs my face, I would scratch his eyes out. Once someone lays hands on you, you are allowed to defend yourself. No apologies needed. Muster enough courage to get away and cut contact now. Gid_lop. I realize this now. I'm working on everything you mentioned. I just hope everything works out well. Thank you. Zin_y. I hope everything works out. I'm guessing you mean leaving him, right? Because this won't be the last time it happens if you stay. Ditch him and have someone with you. Don't be alone with him, even if he wants to talk alone. Only meet him in public, and only if someone is with you. Good luck. Stay safe. Update. A few days after my last update, my brother and his friend helped me pack my belongings. Thank God they did because his mother was there too. My ex kept asking to talk privately, but my brother and his friend insisted he speak with them in the room. He apologized and asked for another chance, with his mother telling him to stop begging. I called my friend to thank her and let her know I'd be staying with my brother temporarily. I stayed for 2 weeks. His mother-in-law and fiancé were kind and supportive. I helped with the baby, which kept my mind off things and made me feel less like a burden. I mentioned in my original post that my ex and I were trying for a baby. I felt tired all the time, thinking it was due to stress, but I didn't know I was pregnant until I miscarried. I hadn't noticed I missed my period. I started having cramps one night and bleeding the next day. It felt like a bad period, but the bleeding worsened. My sister-in-law suspected I was miscarrying, and I was 6 weeks along. Other than the miscarriage, which I'm still shaken by, things have been good. I found a place 30 minutes from work and am adjusting. A week ago, my ex showed up at my work, but my coworkers told him to leave. Since I'm no contact NC with my mother and younger brother, she tries to reach me through my older brother, who advises me to stay NC for a few months. Initially, I was more focused on his mother lying to my family, but the real issue was him doing that in front of her. If she hadn't lied, I wouldn't have told my family or posted here. I wouldn't have known that my partner's behavior was unacceptable. Sometimes I think about my ex. I know it seems weak, but he was my first everything. Now, I wake up relaxed, without the worry of messing up. My first therapy session is Tuesday. That's all for now. Comments. Festfingers. ENTA at all. It's understandable that you're feeling shaken by everything, including the miscarriage. I'm sorry to hear about that. It's important to prioritize your well-being and take time to heal. It's great you're taking steps like going to therapy to care for yourself. Clearly, she didn't feel the same way about her own son and only cared about her own happiness. This revelation has made it evident that both my father and I had been prioritizing her happiness over everything else. But that's no longer the case. Update 3. It's official, Eddie has filed for divorce. This news has become the primary topic of conversation among my family and a few common friends of my parents. My mother is dealing with this situation in a very unusual manner. She has taken to social media, posting melancholic quotes and statuses, which my cousins have been sending me via screenshots. It's puzzling what she expects to achieve with this, but it's evident that such actions won't be beneficial. She has created this situation for herself, and now she must face the consequences. Her attempts to garner sympathy online only highlight her inability to confront the reality of her actions. The entire situation has become a spectacle, with everyone discussing the divorce. My father's decision to file has brought a mix of relief and turmoil to our lives. My mother's online behavior has been erratic, to say the least. She seems to be searching for validation or pity, but it's clear that these posts won't solve anything. They are, at best, a fleeting distraction from the gravity of the situation she finds herself in. Update 4. My dad now has full custody of me. Over the past few months, my mother put up a determined fight during the custody battle, but the complexities of the divorce proceedings made things incredibly challenging for her. We had substantial evidence of the hardships she put me through, leaving her with little chance of winning custody. Nonetheless, her lawyer managed to prolong the case for a couple of months at the very least. The custody battle was arduous, marked by numerous court dates and emotionally draining encounters. My mother, despite her efforts, could not overcome the mountain of evidence against her. My father and I had meticulously documented everything, ensuring that the truth of my experiences was undeniable. The court ultimately recognized this and granted full custody to my dad. Despite these delays, the outcome is that I no longer have to visit my mother if I choose not to, as my dad is now my custodial parent. Although she has been granted visitation rights, I don't see the point in them since I have no desire to communicate with her anymore. I am content living with my father, and life has been going smoothly. The sense of security and stability I now feel is a stark contrast to the uncertainty that once overshadowed my daily life. Moreover, I have reconciled with my friends, which has been a positive turn in my life. The process of mending these relationships has been gradual but rewarding. It involved honest conversations and mutual understanding, allowing us to move past previous misunderstandings and hurt feelings. Their support has been invaluable, providing me with a sense of normalcy and belonging. As I look ahead, I feel optimistic about the future and the stability that comes with it. My relationship with my father has grown stronger, and I am grateful for his unwavering support. Together, we are navigating this new chapter in our lives, focused on healing and building a positive future. The ordeal, while challenging, has ultimately brought us closer and reinforced the importance of our bond. In summary, the divorce has been a transformative experience for all involved. My mother's actions and the resulting consequences have reshaped our family dynamics. My father and I have emerged from this turmoil with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to our well-being. The path forward is clear, marked by resilience and hope for better days ahead.